Greetings, fellow biopic enthusiasts. Tiki here.
And Blue Dragon 5.
And tonight we are recapping a very special new short film from the Lewis brothers. We're talking The Court Jester, which is Pauly Shore as Richard Simmons. Yeah. So, Dragon, I saw this. This came out about a little over a week ago. And as soon as I even saw the thumbnail, let alone watch the thing, I was like, "This is so up our alley. We need to cover this. This is perfect." Ooh, okay. Well, Little Blue, that's some news in the comments that kind of dampens things a little bit here right off the bat. Great, awesome. Oh boy. Okay,
well, I didn't see that one coming.
Little Blue, I will get to that in a minute. Jesus Christ.
Well, talk about live reaction, kids.
Oh, man. Jesus Christ. Okay, I don't even know. Wow, I'm sorry, Little Blue. That really threw me for a loop, dude. Dragon, you take the lead on this, man.
Okay, I guess the long and short is... So yeah, Lewis brothers did this. I was familiar with the short form biopic stuff that one of the Lewis brothers, Jake Lewis. I presume both brothers were involved, but Jake Lewis specifically was behind the director's chair on this one. He on these biopic shorts. That's the thing. So these guys do like a lot of parodies and probably celebrity parodies along the lines. And of course, Tiki and I are very familiar with the different sketch comedy group that is kind of going to mothballs. Hopefully on the rebound, if certain recent reports are to be believed. Yet to be proven, but they
literally showed up for one comment and then didn't even follow through.
Much like a comedy Bigfoot.
It was so mysterious.
Yep. The oversized shoe of comedy leaves Bigfoot tracks, as some might say. Anywho, so the point being, this, I had been familiar with the work. I didn't know it was the same guy. That's what threw me. Jamie Costa appears in one of these shorts, and that's how I became familiar with two of the three of these things. Mm-hmm. I had no idea this was the same guy. I mean, maybe on this thing, some subconscious level, was like, this is kind of too specific to not be related to that Cowboy and the Samurai thing I watched.
Yeah, right.
Okay, so long and short of it is Jake Lewis did three biopic shorts, essentially. They're almost like proof of concept shorts. They're so good, ideally you would want a biopic made in like feature form, almost like kind of like the Deadpool test footage to some degree, one could argue. So you had the Robin Williams test, which essentially was Jamie Costa, who is a renowned impressionist, whose best impression and likeness is that of a young Robin Williams. So he basically did, what if Robin Williams, he did like a little sample biopic scene of the Mork and Mindy years for Robin Williams. That's essentially what the first one was. And then there was the Cowboy and the Samurai, which is Jamie Costa again playing Jack Nicholson, along with an actor playing John Belushi while they were making Going South. And very recently, there was this. And I think this is a nice tribute to Richard Simmons, the man. It feels going to be a weird comparison, but it feels kind of like we took a Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood kind of approach to Richard Simmons.
No, I don't think that's a weird comparison at all. That's exactly what I was kind of thinking. It's pretty, like, honestly, if the actual movie were to get made, I would imagine it would be very similar to that. And
in less than 10 minutes, not counting the credits and such, less than 10 minutes, I think this film succeeded in getting you to take a look at two people. Well, I should probably revise this to one person, but let's not buy into speculation quite yet. It makes you take a look at two people that you never that you never expected so much out of, and you're kind of captivated by it. At the very least, in this 9-minute short, let's say that much. The two people that like. You see, okay, Richard Simmons, he's part of the lexicon for sure, but in recent years, and I think why a lot of us are really surprised by this, the man's fallen out of public life, very intentionally. Nothing bad happened to him. Believe it or not, people are actually almost putting out a search party for the man in kind of meme culture, in a sense of like, where's Richard Simmons? Turned like a.
I mean, the same thing happened to Howie Mandel during the pandemic, and it's like, he's fine, guys.
Well, Howie Mandel's more of like that one's more of like kind of a joke in bad taste. Okay, let's see how the obsessive compulsive
Right,
do,
exactly.
They
Yeah.
they did the same thing for Monk. Okay, they did like a
Oh
mini.
God,
I'm not joking. When the pandemic started, they did a mini
is
reunion
Mr. Monk okay?
no, seriously, Tiki. When the pandemic happened, Seth MacFarlane did that thing where like a Peacock, I guess in tandem with his TED plans. In retrospect, I guess that's how they got him. Seth MacFarlane hosted that kind of almost like makeshift variety thing for Peacock, and they did like a mini Monk reunion, which was via like Zoom essentially. It was like a Zoom Monk reunion. So it was later to answer like, what is the most famous obsessive compulsive second? Well, let's say next day. I probably more in his heyday, he was more notable than Howie Mandel, who actually appeared on Monk once, very appropriately. Basically, the two of the most.
Did they play into the OCD thing?
In a really interesting Tiki, you gotta watch Monk, man. It's really good.
Eventually.
They do this thing where Howie Mandel actually he actually weans him out of his obsessive compulsive thing, which is really interesting. He's basically anyway. I don't want to get down the rabbit hole on that. The point being, we kind of check in on like one of the most famous fictional obsessive compulsives in a really in kind of a again, it's definitely they're kind of milking and kind of cash in sort of thing. Which again, in hindsight, years ahead of the Monk reunion movie that they eventually did on Peacock, which also played into the pandemic. So that's Monk after the pandemic. He's went back to square one. Anywho, sorry, all that just trailing off there. Point being, yeah. So we had like the thing of Richard Simmons a while back. People warning legitimately, we've never heard from this guy. He kind of dropped out of public life. So I guess someone brought it up and maybe did like some meme stuff. And it's like then it raises the question, where is he? And then he had to go to Facebook or Twitter or something. And he basically said, "Guys, I'm okay. I went out of public life. I just I like being peaceful and happy." And I guess that maybe that was the inkling behind this. I'd like to imagine that was just everyone like obsessed with Richard Simmons randomly, and then we check in with him. The man is like kind of a big staple of pop culture. I mean, he was he's the exercise guy.
All right. Just as far as the allegation goes, I kind of completely agree with Kogias here. This is pretty much how we're going to handle it on the podcast. The violent assault thing is an allegation. I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but it means that he might be innocent. However, the keyword is might. So, like, yeah, I mean, I pretty much take that, like, as far as, like, people like Jonathan Majors go, like, fuck that guy, it's like, so if Pauly Shore did commit domestic abuse on a bad scale and that's true, then honestly, fuck him. But, as it stands now, it's not
like as Richard Simmons, but otherwise, perhaps,
right. So I don't want to sit here and just like don't think that we're trying to endorse that kind of behavior because we're absolutely not.
Well, either way, we didn't know about it until like literally 5 minutes ago. So
right, yeah.
Standard on that, really. I mean, we're going off of again the man.
To be honest with you, I'm legitimately a little bit surprised at how warm the internet's reception to this has been. If that is true. Because you would think that the internet would be like, fuck this guy. Why is this guy in something?
First time I'm hearing about it.
Right. So, again, if it is true, I absolutely do not want to endorse it, but we're just kind of going to go off of the basis that it's an allegation. I mean, false allegations they were kind of an epidemic at a certain point. So I don't want to get into the weeds with that, but let's just kind of, let's not just not ignore it, but for the time being, for tonight's discussion, we kind of just have to set it aside.
Okay, two things to mention. This is the only background I really have on this.
Okay.
So this was kind of released as a tie-in for Sundance, where Sundance, a lot of movies have been kind of teased up and just kind of been seeping out. Like, oh man, we got some good stuff coming this year. One thing in particular I'm obsessed with, but I'm dying for a release date on it.
Really?
Yes, I want to see it so badly. Had I known about it, I would have put it on my anticipated movie list.
What is it?
The Christopher Reeve documentary they're putting out.
Oh, yeah, that's big.
And it sounds amazing. And oh, God, it sounds like it's going to be like an emotional, I want to watch it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so there's that. So a lot of stuff coming out of Sundance. So this was kind of like, it's not in Sundance, but it was like, hey, let's kind of get on the hype wagon for Sundance, release it, kind of one of the smaller things that's going on around Sundance. And lo and behold, that. And the one big thing to note too is, in case anyone's curious, yeah, Richard Simmons, not aggressively so, but Richard Simmons, not involved in this whatsoever. He did not sanction this project. It's very much an unauthorized biopic, if you will.
I feel like he's the vibe that I get from that is it's more so just him wanting to be out of the public spotlight and less so like, how dare you make a mockery out of me?
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It's just more of like his lifestyle choice of late. Like, I'm not in Hollywood anymore. I don't want to do that. I'm just like, I'm at peace right now. I'm pulling over the side of the road.
But Little Blue, I do definitely agree. I hope that he does see the love and support that's kind of pouring out for him over this because, yeah. Go ahead.
No, that was it.
Okay. Little Blue said it's like John Deacon had no part of the Bohemian Rhapsody film, but what the film had to offer for John. Yeah, I know what you're saying. Oh God, the Bohemian Rhapsody film was a mess, but I get what you're saying. That's a good comparison. All right, Dragon, before we get into this, I'm kind of just curious, what is your history with Richard Simmons?
I mean, again, mostly through this kind of like his appearances and parodies and things. But I mean, I've seen a few like minutes of like him doing the exercise thing. I think my mother might have had like one of the tapes when I was growing up. I don't know. So that's the thing. So I always remember, of course, so many parodies in animation too, like Rocko's Modern Life. He always had. I think it was like
yes.
Rocko, I think they made in Rocko. I think they made him like a little pig guy, and he was very much had the afro and wearing the shorts and everything. It was like, yeah. So like. Some kind of stuff like that, and I believe, if memory serves, I want to say he had a memorable cameo in the Nutty Professor.
That sounds right. That sounds like something that he would be in.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like Sherman doing the exercise stuff. I think at some point they had the tape on there. I don't think they did like a dream sequence or anything with him, but I think it was just he was watching the tapes. That's what I'm saying. Richard Simmons would, stuff like that, But yeah, I was familiar with the man through more of a secondhand
pop culture osmosis, basically.
Yeah, precisely.
I was a little bit more familiar with him, specifically because my PE class in middle school did a whole routine on sweating to the 80s, or sweating to the oldies, I mean. So I was very familiar with sweating to the oldies, and I did, in fact, sweat to the oldies as a middle schooler. So I pretty much knew him that way. Obviously, with Rocko's Modern Life, I obviously was familiar with him through that. Talk show appearances and whatnot. I'm sure that he probably popped up on not as a talking head, but like as a subject on like the VH1 I Love the 90s type of shows. I'm sure he was probably a subject on a couple of those. So yeah, I always kind of he was always an enigmatic figure to me because I could never quite. It's kind of interesting, Dragon, now with the recent context with him being being kind of like disengaged from Hollywood and like basically wanted to lead a private life. Because honestly, that was always the vibe that I kind of got from him, was that obviously his public persona is very loud, very boisterous. But even from a young age, I could kind of tell that the dude, he kind of had a quiet side to him. And it wasn't in his actions. It was more so in kind of like his mannerisms. And, you could kind of tell there was a little bit of it was almost like the big boisterous persona was almost kind of like a defense mechanism almost for social anxiety or something. And I can actually kind of relate to that. So he has always been kind of an interesting figure. Okay, Bohemian. Speaking of Bohemian Rhapsody, I know the movie has some bullshit, like what nostalgia critics have mentioned the film. Still a good biopic. It was decent, Little Blue. Bohemian Rhapsody, you're not going to see me saying that it's one of the better biopics. I think it's very much kind of by the numbers. I think the Rocket Man was much better, but it was decent,
Technically the same director.
Yeah. All right. So anything else we need to cover, Dragon, or should we just get right into it?
Let's move those tushies, Tiki.
Oh God! All right. Also, do you know, Dragon? Do you know at all if this is? Because I was kind of trying to look into it and I couldn't really find out one way or another. I think this is basically like an amalgamation of Ellen, appearances. I don't think this is based off of any one Ellen appearance.
No, I don't think it's like this one specific one either.
But I do know that like he did do the memories thing during his first appearance. So there's definitely stuff that that they took from it. Anyways, let's get into it. So we start with our main character, segment producer David, and what is David doing, Dragon?
Well, David is contemplating having a
donut.
Okay, so a couple things to break down here. So again, our setting here, we're behind the scenes of basically the making of Richard Simmons' appearance on Ellen. We're focusing. Here's what I really liked about this. And I love that we were focusing not on Richard Simmons, but the mystique of Richard Simmons by proxy of the David character played by Jesse Hyman.
Yeah, it's a really smart move to essentially make a not a self-insert character, but basically a fictional character that would be kind of like an amalgamation of people that must have been come in contact with Simmons over the years. Because you imagine that this is pretty par for
this was his demographic. This and the old folks were his demographic, essentially.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
That's the thing. You have an unassuming, overweight segment producer who is, contemplating a donut. A donut.
Donuts.
It feels very Everything Everywhere All at Once. The importance of the donut. I must admit, but I do. I just love an
interesting comparison.
Well, yeah, it's the central focus. It's the bonding element. It's the temptation. It has like an ethereal kind of like choir like donut. Plus, it's like a universal love. I mean, seriously, the donut does kind of equate to happiness. I mean, I don't know about you, but for me, the donut is kind of like, man, that's the best way to start a morning.
Honestly, I can kind of relate to this dude's trouble because I am pushing 300 pounds myself. I hate to say that, but I am.
Really? Are you really actually pushing 300 pounds?
Dragon, last I checked, I was at like 275. It's not good.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. Okay. A lot of that is just because I'm really tall, like that is where a lot of my weight comes from.
Are you really that tall?
I'm like 6'3".
Really?
Yeah.
Never would have guessed that.
I'm kind of surprised that you didn't know that.
No, not the height. I mean, you said like big and tall, but never like, I didn't know you meant legitimately big and tall.
I am legitimately a big and tall man, Dragon.
I've seen you put on the weight. I've not seen you put on the height.
Thank you. Yeah. So I can relate to the struggle. I can relate to not wanting to have a donut. Honestly, I got to tell you, man, this is it's kind of funny that we're covering this because I am kind of like in an era of my life where I am trying to reinvent my lifestyle. Dragon, I have gotten very into the salad recently. Believe it or not, I have gotten very into the art of the salad.
Tiki, was it the Cobb salad?
That was initially it, yeah, but that was like back in the day when I went to the Brown Derby. But just in general, I'm just really, I don't know. The more I eat salads, the more I enjoy them, and the more that junk food does not appeal to me. It's kind of funny how that works, right? If you eat a lot of something, it actually starts to taste good. Anyways, I can relate to the struggle. That's all I'm saying.
Okay, the point being, David here is choosing between the donut and ends up subverting that by going for the carrot stick.
Mm-hmm.
So again, that was a choice. This guy is, again, I like how we frame it here. He goes for the carrot stick. Again, you think he's going to go for the donut, but he makes seemingly, again, what he believes to be the right choice, and might be the right choice, but I like that we don't spell it out, that whether it's the right choice or not.
There is actually some ambiguity with that. I think
I like that. I love it. I love that. We'll get there. I love everything about this pastry metaphor. I love it. Anyway, so basically a superior of some kind. If he's like some other producer, he might be the director. The director is like one of the. I don't know if he's the guy in the chair. Or if he's
I don't really think they explicitly like spell it out. I was guessing producer myself.
That's what I'm saying. Like whoever this guy. No, I don't mean like director. I mean like the Jake Lewis is in this as either this guy or.
Okay, got it.
He's either the guy in the chair or he's the guy that he talks to. I don't know. I'm not sure which one. I didn't get a good look at what Jake Lewis looks like. Anyway, because he's a producer of some kind, like he plays like one of the producers in the thing. Anyway, so you have a superior of some kind. He doesn't recognize David here, and David, we established, has been here for 7 years, and
I've
that's
been
going to hurt.
here for 7
That's
years.
going to hurt a guy's feeling if he's been here for 7 years and it's like, oh yeah, you're the new guy.
Right.
Thinks
I
he's an
imagine
intern.
that happens a lot in Hollywood.
I mean, yeah, probably. I guess that, yeah, it makes sense. That probably would happen.
It's just such a big industry with so many moving parts.
Yeah. Yep. Especially recastings. Boom.
Oh, God.
All right. So he gives him the DVD. The DVD.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it's a DVD and not a tape, so it's lovely. We're kind of jumping into that era.
Yeah, totally.
Anyways, he gives him a DVD for Richard Simmons to hold up to the camera, basically. This is on brand for Ellen. Here's the thing. Back in the day, Oprah was always like the thing of like she always gave away the ridiculously like there's no way any person could actually give away cars to that many people in the audience or do that many like giant exuberant things to people in the audience. Ellen, on the other hand, much more achievable. She has Tim Allen on. She gives away, hey, here's copies of Toy Story 1 and 2, like the new 10th anniversary edition. Here you go, guys. Like, okay, way to go, Ellen. That's achievable.
Right.
Anyway, so similar to that, like, okay, that's the idea. So Ellen, we've established this. You hold up the DVD and it's like, hey, you're all going home with this. Isn't that nice?
Uh-huh.
So I liked already we're in the DNA. Oh, well, this is how that show goes, and it's a very grounded principle there. So, because Richard Simmons is going to hold up the product, it's going to make everybody happy. David has 30 seconds to run across this big old sound stage to get to Richard Simmons, and for drama's sake, we've cut out 20 of those 30 seconds. So he's running, and we're counting down from 10. And I like this. David's making an actual effort here. Okay, he's making an effort.
This whole section kind of reminds me of Birdman a little bit.
Yeah.
With just the rushing to get to your mark.
Birdman were in slow-mo, but yes.
Right.
But yeah, so it's 10 seconds. He just misses him. I love the build-up and the mystique of Richard Simmons. We don't really see Richard Simmons until he's on camera.
Mm-hmm.
And we see the glistening sequence of the man, like the glittery, glistening sequence of it. Again, it's almost like that the Elvis and Nixon thing, where Elvis is like the way he defined himself is like he's looked at the public. He's all the things in the trappings. He's his visage of fame. Like the glasses and the sideburns and the hair. When in reality, there's more to him than in Richard Simmons' case. Again, he's like on the surface. He's braggadocio. He looks like a basketball gym coach from the 80s. Essentially that's what he looks
pretty much. Yes, that is in a word. That is.
He looks like Will Ferrell from Semi Pro. Essentially, it looks like that.
Yes.
From a distance, but again, there's more there. So again, he's flamboyant. He's all flamboyancy. He's exercise tape flamboyancy.
Mm-hmm.
But again, we build him up though. Like we're building up this very mundane thing into kind of being a bigger than God. He was like the workout tape guy, and he goes out on stage. But it's the fact that David just misses him. He's right there, and he gets up to the Mount Olympus essentially, and he missed. He missed the welcome party. So David, very sympathetic here, very pitiable, and that oh man, he gave it his best, and he still just missed it. And there's that. You feel the moment of anxiety and dread of like, oh no, he didn't give him that tape. He's going to be in trouble.
I mean, to tell you the truth, the bigger anxiety and dread that I got, like, yeah, that is part of it for sure. But then him lingering in the background of the shot. Yeah. Like, knowing what I know about film production, Dragon, that is about the biggest no-no that you could possibly...
Oh, yeah.
Like, that is just like a cardinal sin.
Here's the question I have for you.
Okay.
Do you think later on Richard Simmons seeks David out because he saw the playback footage, or do you think it was just pure coincidence? He did say he saw him, like, trying not to be noticed, but is that what he meant?
The way I read that is I honestly thought that he noticed David, like, in the moment, like, when he was on stage.
Okay.
Like, lingering in the background, basically.
Okay.
That's how I read it, but I don't know for sure.
I like that's ambiguous, though. I like that we don't exactly know. Could it be just purely coincidence and he's just saying that to him? It could be like he saw him like in the corner of his eye while he was on the same, which I'm with you. I kind of want that to be the case. Or he saw the play, which is the most practical answer. Well, okay, I saw you not wanting to be noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, but seriously, I like that our first introduction to Richard Simmons is like we see him on the little screen, so it's pretty much how everyone saw Richard Simmons. We saw him on the little TV screen before we see him like actually on the show. Like mingling with the dance, run around, doing a little,
I love that
jazz.
the camera people can't keep up with him.
Yeah. So of course we got happy-go-lucky music and everything playing. David is in the shot and he's called off, and oh boy. So that's not going to
Yeah, for me, it's like, not getting him the tape is like, it's not necessarily David's fault, just because it's like he was handed the tape literally 30 seconds before they go on air. It's like, that's kind of like a Herculean task for anyone. Sorry. But yeah, the whole thing of standing in the middle of the shot, that's on David, Dragon. That's on David.
Yeah. Well, he got stage fright.
Right.
It was kind of a thing of like, do I just throw it at him?
Exactly. Yeah.
Richard! Oh, my head!
God.
Oh, man, sweating to the oldies hurts.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay, so anyways, we have Rich Simmons here. He goes through basically his credos, his credo stuff here, which is love yourself, watch the portions, and move those
guns.
Yeah.
God.
Every time I hear the music is playing, I keep thinking like it's the start of like Soul Man from the Blues Brothers, but it's not. Okay, so anyways, and then they realize, oh no, he doesn't have the DVD, and you see poor David there to the side, like he's kind of like half-heartedly trying to hide the DVD.
Right. Like he knows that he's clocked, but he's just,
But still, here's the thing, I just love that we're doing this Richard Simmons biopic, and we're hitting this great kind of like self-insert, at least audience kind of like Avatar sort of thing right now. We have like David just kind of like here, and we're dedicating so much time to him, knowing it's going to pay off, and like the management's going to be mad and everything. Who do we blame? Because it's Hollywood, we always have to blame someone. Exactly. And they see David, we rack the focus a little bit. It's like the realistic, just like little gaze of the eyes there with the tape. Richard Simmons is doing his exercise dance with Ellen. Of course, Ellen likes to dance, so that's how it works. The ladies.
I'm not gonna lie. I was when I realized that this was about the Ellen show, I was kind of like, in the back of my mind, I was wondering, are they gonna have like one nasty Ellen moment? Just one. I'm kind of glad that they resisted the temptation for that, because like I feel like that would be low hanging fruit, considering the headlines and everything, and it would definitely take away from the message of this.
Did they ever spell what exactly went down behind the scenes? Well, you don't have to tell me now. I'm just wondering that yes or no.
Yeah, there's a lot of information about it, Dragon. Yeah.
Okay, because I've always heard like bad stuff. I never what happened. Anyway, so let's see. Getting it's everything. So Richard, it's interesting when you think about Richard Simmons and just the popularity he had, and just kind of like the way we look at things. He kind of, at least the way I perceived him to be, based on secondhand knowledge, is that he seemed like to be the Pee Wee Herman of exercise.
Oh, yeah, that's also a really perfect description, for sure.
Yeah, that's the thing, where he's very much in character. He's this bigger-than-life personality. He's very identifiable with, with his outfit and what he wears, and to the point where you can probably make dolls of the guy and everything. Okay, so they go to commercial break. And again, this is where we get into the real biopic stuff. Everything important happens during the commercial break, during when we're not in front of the cameras. So we have this ethereal lighting. Sorry, before we I'm jumping ahead. Sorry. So we have to go to commercial break. The director, I'm assuming he's the director, whoever. We have the director guy. Say, I know you're new here, but word of advice, you're not going to last unless you stay out of people's way.
I love the irony of that, considering that it was literally people getting in his way that made him miss the cue to begin with.
Yes. Also, in hindsight, I mean, look, it's going to sound a little mean, but like really, of all the people you're gonna have rushed the tape over to Richard Simmons.
God, that is mean.
I'm just saying, it's kind of the point of the thing, though. But it's just, it's less. It's less like coming down on Dave. It's just more of like, you're an able-bodied man. Why you went out of your way to give this guy the tape so you wouldn't have to just talk to Richard Simmons? Why did you do that? You maniac! You couldn't run, you couldn't get some cardio in, really?
Oh my God!
You're gonna give it to this poor schlub who's choosing between the donut and the carrot stick?
Yeah.
Anyway, speaking of which, but yeah, I love that he's not berating him, but he is really hurtful in what he's saying here. The whole "stay out of people's way."
Hmm.
I've been here for 7 years. All right, so then they have this again. I love this the thematicism here. The siren call of the donut.
Donut.
It's very well shot. It's the seductive, sugary
It looks like
visage.
a delicious looking donut. I will give it that much.
Yeah,
And I am fully on. Well, we'll get to it. We'll get to it. But I'm fully on board with what Richard says about the donut.
exactly.
All
Anyway,
right.
so the point is, we're zooming in the donuts. Like, you're in a party. It was like, at least you're trained at this point because of the carrots. So you think, no, David, don't throw away your donut sobriety. Don't do it.
Oh God.
But he's going for it. The allure of the pastry calls for the man. And then we have this ethereal light bathing the area, and then we have just
The lighting in this short, just in general, is fantastic for like basically like a YouTube film essentially.
Yeah, essentially. I love we have this ethereal light behind David and basically obscuring Richard Simmons as we hear him like almost like a bigger than God moment. I love the double edged sword nature of this. I love that you can read in two ways. He says like, "You gonna eat that?" That's the perfect introductory line for Richard Simmons because you could look at it like, is he coming down on him? Like, you gonna eat
Right,
that?
exactly.
Like,
Yeah,
how
yeah, yeah.
dare you forsake me? You're insulting everything I'm doing here.
I'm right here in the building, and you're still gonna go through with that?
I'm doing all this for your betterment. This is how you treat me?
Oh God.
By treating yourself? How dare you? It could go different. Anyway, so enjoy that donut because it's your last employed donut.
Oh Jesus Christ.
Anyway, that's but seriously, have like almost like again, you can have like the loving God, hateful God kind of moment there almost, where it's like, are you gonna eat that versus are you gonna eat that? In the most like happy go lucky, like, hey, casual way. It's just the vaguely Christ-like element of that is just really funny to me. The potentially intimidating line. Anyway, so says, "Oh no, go ahead, David. Very friendly, by the way. We like David, don't we?"
Of course.
Yes. So David says, "No, go ahead," and he just goes there, and we have this. To me, this moment always calls to mind a Jeff Johns Aquaman moment. Very famously, when they did the New 52, Jeff Johns had a good run on Aquaman, which is why we have the Aquaman movie and everything. And the point being, there's a big moment in that story where Aquaman he goes to a seafood restaurant, eats seafood, and everyone's like looking at him funny, like, "What are you doing? You're Aquaman. You talking fish?
Oh,
What are you doing?" So this moment reminded me exactly of that moment where it's that Aquaman eating fish moment where it's like this Bigfoot encounter of like, I saw Richard. It's like almost like the Bill Murray encounter. Frankly, I always have like these. You see Bill Murray in the last place you expect, doing the last thing you expect, and Richardson shows up and he's eating a donut. Like, I love the ones with the sprinkles.
Dragon, there's a Bill Murray story in The Bear season 1 that kind of like it's like a pivotal plot point of the whole season. I'll say that much.
Love it.
Yeah. We'll get to The Bear on Memoirs. I think you'd really dig it. Anyways.
All right. So, so we have this whacked out encounter. Like, oh God, he's Richard Simmons. He's eating a donut in front of me, and he's singing too. He's singing Memories,
which is directly from his first appearance on Ellen.
That is from Cats, right?
Yes, Dragon, it's from Cats.
Here's why I ask. Okay, for years before I even knew what Cats was, I saw School of Rock. I remember that the first thing.
Yeah, of course. I think that's where a lot of people first heard that song.
Yes.
Yeah. Especially
Miranda
people around our age.
Just Miranda Cosgrove singing Memories and Jack Black.
Memory all alone in the moonlight.
No, you can stop. Just like that's the thing, just like Jack Black just shutting her down. Like they're like, nope, next, no. Producer, not singer.
By the way, in fun fact, that line is actually wrong in the movie. It's memory, turn your face towards the moonlight.
Oh.
Yeah, fun fact. I feel like that movie kind of contributed to like a Mandela effect almost.
Do you think it's Mandela, or do you think maybe it's like a rights thing? They didn't have the rights to the Cats, but if you get the song wrong.
Yeah, maybe, possibly.
I wonder if that's like an actual loophole. Like you change the lyrics ever so slightly. We see Family do it all the time, but like the lampooning of things. But still need the musical arrangement though, so I don't know if that still plays. Anywho, Simmons, the donut. So even the donut. Oh, I could eat 12 of these at a time. And he's singing memories.
Also, he loves the rainbow sprinkles, and Richard, I too love the rainbow sprinkles.
See, I appreciate.
I'm a sucker for sprinkles on donuts, Dragon.
Oh, this is where we grind everything to a halt and talk about donuts. So bear with us. So it's like I respect the sprinkle. I love the visage of the sprinkle, but you know what, man? Right now Dunkin' Donuts is going.
Gives the donut like just a really satisfying crunch. I love the crunch of the sprinkle.
I can respect the crunch, but I like the icing more. Okay, it's just here's the thing. Dunkin' Donuts now, for some stupid reason, I have no idea why, they have this policy now where they don't make them without the sprinkles anymore. I used to have an option of sprinkles or no sprinkles, but now I can only get the sprinkles on like the strawberry donut, which ticks me off.
You know what? I will say Krispy Kreme, I prefer no sprinkles. Just because Krispy Kreme is like a different breed of donut, and I want all the glaze I can get off of Krispy Kreme.
There was only one time I want sprinkles on a donut.
Okay.
When they're themed sprinkles, and I don't just mean colored sprinkles, I mean themed sprinkles. Like on Halloween, they have like little bat shapes on them. During Christmas, they have like little snowflakes, little Christmas.
Oh God.
Okay, themed sprinkles.
I feel you. One more thing on donuts, and then we'll get back.
Are we going to talk about?
I believe this is accurate. You prefer, and I think this is fucking weird. I'm sorry. You prefer Dunkin' to mom and pops, right?
Dunkin' or nothing.
That's fucking weird to me, Dragon. I will not go to Dunkin'. I will always take a mom and pop.
I'm a brand man. I don't know what to tell you.
I'm a brand man. And honestly, if I were to do a brand, Krispy Kreme all the way, no question.
I'm a patriot, Tiki. I don't know what to tell you. America runs on Dunkin'. Without Dunkin', God. America ceased to exist. America ceases to a crawl.
Okay, so while this podcast is ceased to a crawl, let's go over some comments here.
Okay.
Do you remember the Space Jam cameo? Because I honestly don't really. It's been a long time since I watched Space Jam.
Well, I mean, aside from, like maybe some channel flipping, I don't really recall Richard Simmons being in that movie.
Yeah, I don't either. But like I said, it's been a long time. I remember the Space Jam soundtrack more than I remember the actual movie.
Yeah, that's the thing. Well, no, I mean, I remember the movie. I'm saying I remember Richard Simmons. That's the thing. I'd like to think I would remember that. Maybe it went by quick.
Is it a channel surfing thing, guys?
Yeah, that's the thing. It makes sense.
I wouldn't be surprised if it was. Dragon, you know about the Pauly Shore Pinocchio movie, right?
Sadly, I do.
Oh my God. Father, when can I leave to be on my own?
Well, I think positively of Pauly Shore. Now I might have to, but when I think positively of Pauly Shore, I think of the Goofy movie.
Well, yeah, of course.
And this, and well, that's pretty much it.
That's pretty much it. Yeah, that's pretty much it. That pretty much runs the gambit.
Actually, if memory serves, I could be wrong here. I remember he's in relation to Mitzi, who ran the comedy store. I forget if he was like actually related to Mitzi. Forgive me, I'm blanking on his last name. Essentially, the lady who ran the comedy store.
I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
I think Pauly Shore is either her son or nephew.
Oh wow, okay.
That's the other thing too. So, but yeah, he's related to her some way, shape, or form. I think he might actually be her son. I think I could absolutely be wrong on that. Okay.
All right. Also, imagine if Richard Simmons met Homer Simpson and
has that not happened on the TV or The Simpsons? Actually, has that ever happened?
He has definitely been on The Simpsons. I don't recall off the top of my. I don't think. I'm pretty because again with Richard Simmons, it's usually if it's a cameo, it's going to be him on the show doing his thing on, someone watching him on TV. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure that's how it was on The Simpsons as well. But I got to tell you, after this short, I would love it if they just brought him back. I mean, he would never actually do it. But, wouldn't it be amazing if they brought him back?
They would have to give a lot of money to the charity.
Right. Specifically for him to geek out about donuts with Homer Simpson.
Oh, yes. Here's the Homer Simpson. He goes, donut needs donut. Richard Simmons does it like right before he takes the bite. You hear donuts. He
Donuts.
takes the bite, and like Homer Simpson's like, hey, why is that not happening when I do it?
God. All right. Kogia says, I love how Richard Simmons reminds Dragon of Aquaman.
Well, in this instance, yes.
Imagine if Jason Momoa played Richard Simmons instead of Pauly Shore.
He would have a lot of energy for it. If we learned anything for that Fast X movie or Fast whatever number.
Oh my God, dude! Jason Momoa in Fast X. I still can't.
You
get
can
over
see
how
that guy
entertaining
playing
he
Richard
is.
Simmons, can't you?
I mean, that movie is pretty much trash outside of Jason Momoa, but Jason Momoa just elevates that movie to like at least a 6 out of 10, honestly, just on Jason Momoa alone. Richard Simmons' cameo in Space Jam was footage from the Looney Tunes that the Looney Tunes were exercising too. That's
right.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Let's get back to it.
Yes. So, okay, Richard Simmons, he's calling out the trippiness of what's going on here. So this is really sweet. They have kind of a nice, like, literal sit down.
I like that he's the first person to acknowledge that it's weird that he's eating a donut.
Yeah. Go ahead. You see me eating a. You see me eating you see me eating the donuts. You're wondering what the heck's going on there. It's a nice casual conversation. It's just kind of meta. David. Just seeing. He mediates kind of David seeing that he's conflicted. So, I saw you. Again, the whole question of whether he saw him back there, like on the tape or not. Anyway, so he explains the donut. Why the donut? Well, every day I look for a moment to bring peace, to myself. And every day it's something different. It's such a magical philosophy.
This is a great philosophy. This is a very Fred Rogers philosophy.
Yeah. Tiki, that's the guy.
What?
Electric Dragon, the internet.
Yeah.
Anyway. So yes, we just have this nice the whole something different every day, very Mr. Rogers-esque sort of thing. Is doing kind of a nice random peaceful activity, almost like the whole close your eyes for three like a silence for like 3 seconds, thinking of a loved one sort of thing.
So
let's see a number of things he does here. Like he pulls off to the side of the road, turns the radio off. He cries watching Harry Met Sally. And today it's this donut. So I love everything but the philosophy of Richard Simmons. That's what I'm saying. I've never imagined to be more interested in Richard Simmons than I am watching this short.
I know, right?
It's the fact that this line right here. So there was a time in my life where food was nice to me, but I wasn't nice to myself. Like there's a sell line for you right there. Like that's how you legitimize Richard Simmons. Yeah. So let's see. So and then this I love the performance on the guy who plays David here. I love Jesse Heineman or Hyman. The way he says, "You're just talking to me because I'm fat."
Yeah, he's so sympathetic. He's just like.
I just love the reading of that line. Like there's like that that cheekiness of like with a smile on his face. Oh, you're just talking to me because I'm fat. Like you're flattering me because I'm a fat guy.
It's like he's not really trying to call him out, but he's just like, yeah, this is kind of the reality of it. I'm used to this.
Yeah, you could have talked to anyone. You're talking to me because I'm your demographic.
Right.
But yes, there's I love like
I would like to think, going back to what we were kind of talking about, I would like to think that it really has nothing to do with his weight. I would like to think that it is all about, how he saw him kind of lingering in the background.
I would like to think that as well. But yeah, so I was like, no, David. So we should probably talk about Pauly Shore's performance.
Yes, although
that's the performance.
I think it's wonderful, honestly.
Yes.
I think it's so funny because it's like you really wouldn't like Pauly Shore and Richard Simmons both have very distinct vocal inflections, and they're actually quite similar, but you wouldn't think it until you put them together, right?
A lot of people pointed out, I don't know if it's like firsthand, like true or not, but just people pointing out, like, hey, Pauly Shore must have really liked Richard Simmons because he really nailed like the energy and just and kind of the soul of the man here. But yeah, I like that he brought a lot of depth to him here that you never imagined with like the seemingly.
I mean, this is hands down got to be the best Pauly Shore performance. It's got to be.
Well, easily, he's not much competition, but yeah, man, it's basically this and Leaning Tower of Cheesa.
Right. God.
So not much competition there. Honestly, it might be the only dramatic Pauly Shore performance I've ever seen in my life.
I'm actually gonna look it up right now and see if he's done any low-key dramas, but
yeah, that's the thing. I mean, he's just bringing like again. I like that he's doing the philosophizing, like the salesmanship of Richard Simmons, but it's like it's down to earth and in private, not like playing in front of camera. So we've seen him do the iconic Richard Simmons. We're also seeing like if we reach down deep, is there something there beyond just like kind of basically an exercise salesman?
Mm-hmm.
And seemingly there is, where he says like, "No, David." He feels things very, very strongly. Like, "No, David, I saw you working very hard not to be noticed, and I know what it's like to want to disappear." Like that line right there, like that's a line that makes me interested in this guy. Like, I know what it's like to want to disappear.
Sure.
It's just like, you need to like yourself. If you like yourself, you're gonna be fine. Like the whole thing, like the weight is not the issue. The weight is like the gateway to getting people to like themselves. They think that's the thing that they need to like about they need to like about themselves, and really it's a deeper issue. Like basically, weight is like the olive branch for Richard Simmons trying to. At least that's kind of what the vibe is here. Because like think about every almost every Bravo show you've ever seen, like self-improvement, or like do we want to change you? We know fundamental change aside from excessive and nasty like liposuction or surgical options is not the way to do that. What you want to do is it's self-acceptance. Like that's the accepting the inner beauty.
Which I do love that. I really do think that's a really great message, because it's like, you can try dieting, you can try exercising, but like it really, the self-acceptance really is the first step. It's
like the real victory. I think the real victory in any like self-help thing or in like weight loss regimen or whatever you're trying to do predominantly is like, don't eat because you're bored. That's the only rule you really should live by. Don't eat because you're bored.
Right, I can see that. Yeah.
You eat because you're hungry or you want to try something. Don't eat because you're bored.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so he says like, don't be shy. You're I'm sorry. Before that, he says, you haven't been really nice to yourself, have you?
You know how I read that line?
How did you read that line?
I read that line because, like, and I'm sure it's pretty surface, but like it kind of relates to what I was saying about why he might have fallen out of the public spotlight, because I imagine that he's got a lot of his own self-doubt and demons that he battles. You know what I mean? So I feel like he probably has like a sixth sense for that kind of stuff.
I think it's interesting that essentially our icons of self-improvement, looking within, and all these like these positive things, they started off as fat children, it would seem.
Mm-hmm.
Like Mr. Rogers, he was chubby as a boy. Sure. Richard Simmons, at least from the sounds of this, I didn't do a deep dive on the man, but according to this, he used to be possibly pushing 300 pounds.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's kind of interesting. That again, it's the journey. So, and again, when you look at Richard Simmons, any way you look at him, and the man did, he wasn't thin as a rail. That's the thing. The man was a work in progress.
That's the thing. I'm so glad you mentioned that. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because that's another thing that has always kind of been an enigma about him, is that like it's not like he's like a super well built buff guy. It's not like
he's not Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
But it's all about the self-love. That was his entire message. You know what I mean?
It's like, if a man can be that happy and that energetic, maybe we all can be. We don't have to be like Schwarzenegger, but you know what? It's a start.
I feel like it's a very like kind of achievable goal. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean,
like, just be happy with yourself. It doesn't matter if you're not like a perfect specimen of physicality. Just be happy with yourself.
Yeah. Anyway, so then we have this, and then we have like some of the Richard Simmons isms here, which are really well delivered. David, if I'm wrong, just say, Richard, you're nuttier than a squirrel turd.
I love that.
And Dave was like, wait, what? I can't say that. Like, don't be shy. You're beautiful. You're unique. Yeah, again, so Richard, if I'm wrong,
You're a
Richard, you're
fucking
nuttier.
king. I love Richard Simmons dropping the F-bomb, Dragon.
I like that we built to it.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, he learned to love every part of himself, even the 300-pound him that he lets have a donut every now and then. So have the rest of that donut or don't. But do it. But you better ask yourself: is it fit for a king? Because you're an effing king, David. Very inspiring. That's what I'm saying. It's an inspiring, uplifting thing to this to what we're seeing.
I would like to think that the real Richard Simmons like dropped F-bombs very, like at very strategic times. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I would like to think so as well. But again, with going back to the donut, we're going to be another half hour on this. Folks, so bear with us. So going back to the donut, I just love that. Again, it's like with the ambiguity of the donut. Again, he's not coming down on it, but he's not like saying eat it or don't. Sorry, when the way he's laying it out here is like it's your choice to have that donut or not. I mean, as you can see, again, I'm not one donut will not kill you. I mean, that's the thing. He's not saying to eat the whole box. He could eat the whole box, but there's a little bit of self-restraint there from what he said earlier. But still, it's just the fact like, hey, you want to treat yourself nice, okay? But you got to ask yourself again. Are you eating because you're bored and you're sad? Like, don't eat emotionally. Don't eat because you're feeling sad about life or yourself. Like, don't eat your feelings away. That's kind of the core value here. Eat because you really want a good donut. Again, eat a donut that's fit for a king.
Going back to the bear, I'm so sorry, but there is another plot line in the bear that has to do with like making the perfect donut.
Yeah.
And it's very compelling.
Mm.
Leads to one of the other big moments of season 1 anyways.
Okay, but it's still again, it's like treating yourself to something nice, not just treating yourself.
Yeah, sure.
And of course, then he's just doing his old, basically like a mythical figure. He dances off and then he look at
God Pan or something like that.
Sure, like
fluttering away.
He's very Hermes-like.
That's probably a better comparison. That's a better comparison,
especially the Disney Hercules Hermes. He's very,
which that's got to be model on him, right? It's got to be.
I gotta be honest, Tiki. I have this weird sixth sense. Like, there's no way that Hermes is actually voiced by Pauly Shore, is there? In that movie,
no, he's not, because I actually did just look through his filmography.
Okay, good. Right, but the guy who plays him does sound eerily like Pauly Shore. If you actually listen to that, I don't know. Anyway,
hold on, I'm looking up right now. It was Paul Schaefer.
Different Paul. Okay. Well, same initials, Paul S.
Right.
With little glasses. I should have known. Anyway, okay, now I gotta admit, I am truly baffled and stumped. I tried looking it up. I couldn't at first. I didn't do a super deep dive. I didn't go. I'm sure if I went through Richard Simmons, it might have been like more of a reason for this. I don't know if you know. So David, after he disappears like a mythical figure, David finds a card, and the card says the court jester. Do you have any idea what that means?
You know what? I really don't. Honestly.
I was curious. I couldn't find anything. I don't know why.
What I took it as is I kind of took it as like that's what people saw Richard Simmons as, but he's like more than that. You know,
I just don't know if it's actually based on a real thing. That's what I don't know. But yeah,
right.
Yeah,
like if he did hand out cards like that.
I mean, that's a thing. I don't know if he actually gave out cards like that, and then maybe that was like a person. I wonder if maybe that's like a personal thing he did to people that really needed help. Maybe for all
right.
That'd be great. I don't know if it really happened. That'd be great.
And of course, when you just Google Richard Simmons court jester, this is pretty much the only thing that comes up. I imagine
it's not helping.
Yeah.
And yes,
let's see. Little Blue, literally the entire premise of this whole short film hinges on a donut.
Yes.
And Code Geass, we kind of briefly touched on Richard Simmons not approving of the biopic. And we both kind of agree, like, it's probably not a, like, what the fuck are you doing? Like, stay away from my life. It's probably more so, like,
those are my shorts.
I'm a little bit, like, personally self-conscious of my life being on display like this. You know what I mean? It's probably more of a social anxiety type of thing, I imagine. The shorts, by the way, Dragon, I did watch his first appearance on Ellen. He is very proud of those shorts. They're vintage 1977 Dolphin shorts that you cannot get anymore because the fabric that was used to make them is illegal because it's too flammable.
Oh, for a moment I thought you were going to go somewhere darker than that.
Oh, yeah, no, Dolphin is the brand, I think.
I'm so great. That's what I thought, but then you said dolphins. Oh God, no, they're outlawed.
That's kind of what I was thinking too when he first mentioned that.
How is that even possible? But yeah, so that's like are there stripes made out of are there stripes made out of the dolphin? Like, how is that? Like, oh, guess that why they're shiny? No, it's
you should really I would recommend watching his first appearance on Ellen. I think you'd really enjoy it.
Right.
Like I can tell, like they did pull some stuff from here directly from that.
Oh yeah, they do their research. These Lewis brothers.
All right. Well, that's anything else on this?
Well, I think we have more to mine from the donut for about another hour, but yeah, no, it's. Oh no, I think we.
How do you feel about old fashions?
Do you mean just like the plain donut?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's the.
Oh wait, do you not know what an old fashioned donut is?
Well, yeah, the old. Well, I know the donut. And Dunkin' Donuts, it's called the old fashioned.
It's kind of like it's a slightly more like kind of. It's hard to explain. It's kind of like a more jagged kind of shape. It's not like a perfect circle.
Well, no, they throw me off like the change in shape. The old fashioned, where I come from, is basically it's like kind of like a cake donut without anything on it.
No,
that's an old fashioned.
That's interesting.
Like cake donuts mean like it's not like the soft donuts. Like it's like the rough, like. It's like the rough donut, but no ice.
No, I know what you mean.
But that to me, that's what Dunkin' Donuts calls the old fashioned.
Oh my God, you need to seriously fucking broaden your donut horizons, dude.
How dare you infringe on my right to enjoy pastries as I see fit? How dare you?
I literally think we've had this whole conversation before, like the old fashioned, the Krispy Kreme versus Dunkin', me loving mom and pops. I think we've literally had this whole conversation before.
Well, I guess just to get more donutisms in there. Yeah, so my go-to donuts are the maple donut and the strawberry donut, ideally without sprinkles, but now that's a thing of the past. So
like the Simpsons, like pink strawberry, like that kind.
Yes.
Okay.
So like yeah. What are the strawberries you think I meant?
I don't know. I just it's just when I think of
strawberry frosted, like pink icing, as in the frost, pink strawberry icing on the donut.
Right.
And the maple. Oh, maples like that. The best way to start a morning is with a maple donut because it's a taste of Canada in the morning. It's like eating. It's like eating a pancake, but it's portable.
Laser Dude just exists off of maple bars. That's his entire diet.
I would kill. Here's the, if the maple bar. Do you know if the maple bar has cream in it?
No.
If it if it doesn't, I want one so badly.
Well, you could probably get a maple bar if you went to somewhere besides Dunkin'.
But that's the thing, though. I don't.
I don't understand you. You're literally saying that you want one, but no, your name brand is not right.
Okay, even my non-name brand donut options, they're not going to have the maple bar. I know they're not going to have the maple bar. It's just going to be like, why did I come here?
I seriously am now wondering if like old-fashioned donuts and maple bars and stuff like that are like more of a West Coast versus East Coast kind of thing. Now I'm kind of wondering that.
That's the thing is, I've wanted a maple bar for two reasons. One, a maple bar, Elvis had one in Elvis and Nixon. But seriously, it's because I like the maple donut. It's like, man, that looks
really maple good. Bars are the ultimate maple donut. I will tell you that much.
And the second reason is Cosgrove in that Freakazoid crossover, Teen Titans Go, which again, less for the Teen Titans Go, more for the return of Freakazoid and Cosgrove. Cosgrove talking about the Long Johns.
Oh my God.
Which is the other name for Maple Bar.
Oh my God. Okay. Oh, let's see. Any other donut talk on my end?
What are your favorite donuts, audience?
Do you know what crumb donuts are?
Well, I'm just gonna wager. I think so, but the crumb donuts have like the literally the crumbs on them, right?
Yeah. Those are probably my favorites.
Like there's like an apple crumb donut. There's
Right.
blueberry, maybe a blueberry crumb donut, like stuff like that. So yeah, I've seen those. Yeah, I've seen those.
Yeah, those are probably my favorite type of donuts. Kogia says maple is his favorite.
Yes.
I also really like vanilla donuts. Honestly, that's probably my favorite use of vanilla.
I have nothing against the vanilla. Here's what I like. Okay, I'm just gonna get in the weeds about donuts again. Okay, here's what I like with the vanilla donut. Okay, around my parts, around Dunkin' Donuts, a foreign land to you, my friend. They don't do as much anymore because, again, there's been like a weird regime change or something. I don't know why. They still do it around the sports themes, but again, what they used to do is like around like the
Go Niners.
Sure. With the changing of the seasons, like around spring and fall and everything, they would just color they call it a marble donut. And the marble donut is a vanilla donut, but they have a drizzle of something on there. Like during the spring, like around Easter, you'd have like spring colors, like whites with the yellow, very pastel looking colors, greens with yellows, and Iron Fist donuts. I recall fondly eating when I was watching Iron Fist back in the days of Netflix. But have some donuts, and they'd have the green with the yellow drizzle. It was like, man, that's a perfect companion piece to the show I'm watching. In some cases, more palatable than the show itself. Regardless, have that. Then, but again, year round, around sports times, around baseball season, football season, you have essentially what they call it. You have like basically like they give like a bunch of names referring to the teams and stuff. You have like a purple donut with like chocolate drizzle, and they color the vanilla, but you have like either chocolate drizzle or just vanilla drizzle. Point being, a lot of variety with vanilla, what you can do with the vanilla, or add the sprinkles, and
Oh God, I love a good vanilla sprinkle.
Yes.
One more thing about donuts, and then we'll wrap it up. Universal Studios has this donut franchise. I'm pretty sure it's exclusively a Universal thing. I don't think there's like stores elsewhere. It's called Voodoo Donuts. And Dragon, I got to tell you, they are the most overrated donuts. I really do not. I've tried them twice. I do not like them because they put too much. They put too much on there, Dragon. It's too elaborate. It's like they'll do stuff like where they'll put like cereal on it and stuff like that. It's like weird shit. It's like they go too far with the donuts.
This is where Tiki and I might disagree. Maybe we will. I don't know. I don't know what anyone would. I'm very against the artisanal donut.
I'm not against it. But I like to keep things simple. Like so I know what you're saying about like an artist. I don't know. I feel like it kind of just depends for me. I feel like I would like certain ones. I'm kind of with you on the cream thing or jelly. I don't like fillings in donuts.
I don't like fillings. I can respect the filling. I don't want the filling.
Right. Yeah.
Another donut rant.
Oh my God.
Okay, last one because it's actually coming up though.
It's getting to the point where I feel like the filmmakers are kind of going to be insulted if they.
What we talked about?
Why are they talking about donuts?
Well, this is that thing. They brought it up so tantalizing in the first place. Also, they're comedy guys, and third off, we already did the discussion. This is the end. This is the epilogue.
All right,
this is the dessert.
Fair enough.
So, just because everybody's rolling around, my favorite thing, but it's so confounding to me. Is that they have like the shaped donuts. It's shaped like the heart for Valentine's Day with the strawberry, and I want it, but there's one catch. There's always
filling. Yeah.
Why can't I get the strawberry without the filling? Why?
I feel you.
It looks so good. It's like in a little shape of a heart.
If I had to, I would eat a jelly donut. Like I feel like jelly is more acceptable to me, but cream, I'm with you. I'm not a cream guy.
Anyway.
Final thoughts on the court, Jester Dragon.
This is great. This is more. Seriously, I want the Lewis brothers to do more of this, and if all goes according, we might be covering the rest of the 3 catalog of the Lewis brothers.
Yeah, like I said, when I first saw this pop up, it was just instantly just like, this is totally up our alley. Would you call this a fan film, Dragon? Because I've kind of been reluctant to use that terminology.
I would not call this a fan film.
Yeah, but it's kind of like in that sort of like space though, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of like a cousin of a fan film almost.
It's a Dan film.
Oh God. But, and it's obviously we're into biopics. We're specifically into unconventional casting when it comes to biopics.
Yep.
So this is right up our alley, and it really delivered.
Yep.
All right. Well, big thanks to Code Geass and Little Blue for joining us in the comments. How much is Duncan paying you, Dragon?
Well, I wish they would pay me in free donuts, but they're not.
All right. See y'all later. Have a good night. Memoirs on Wednesday. Looking forward to it. All right. See y'all later.
Don't eat because you're bored.
Donuts.